Good morning. We're going to be working at the wall today. So if you can, kick off your shoes and let's get started. All right, so I want you to start out just by kind of moving your feet, wiggling around. Don't really think about it, and then just idle down, settle down, and take a look at your feet. So you might notice that one foot is further forward than the other, or one foot is turned out. We're just creating an awareness so that we know what we're changing and where we started from. So I kind of noticed that I have one foot that's a little bit further forward than the other. And so I just want to create a little bit of balance with that. But before I do, I'm going to scooch myself back just a hair and create those new adjustments in my feet so that when I'm up against the wall, I'm not leaning back from my heel. So we're using the wall today. This is not going to mean that your heels are going to touch the wall. We have to account for a booty, and all of our booties are different. So as you adjust that, okay, bring yourself up against the wall and then just recheck your feet again. My left foot really wants to be slightly further back than my right foot, and it almost makes me feel like I'm standing incorrectly. So this is why you have to look at your feet and make that awareness that it's like, yes, in fact, they're parallel. Yes, in fact, the outer edges of the feet are pretty parallel with the outer edges of the room or the mat or the lines on the floor, which may make you feel like you're collapsing in. We all have patterns. Our body has areas that are shorter and tighter, longer and overstretched or slack, and those create patterns, and that's how we move about our day. We're trying to change those patterns today. So once you've done that, we want our feet at about a hip's distance. Now, we're not going to get caught all up in technicalities, but this is not your hip's distance. If you're a little bit fuller around your hip area, you're not feeling your bones. You're feeling, wherever we are, okay, we're feeling the tissue, the muscle, the fat, the padding that goes around our bones. So please do not think that this is as wide as your feet are. We want to find the actual width of the pelvis, or the inner pelvis, which is actually quite narrow. So your front hip bones, okay, you might have to push a little bit harder, but they're there, okay, they're there. They're usually by our front belt loops. We're going to find those and go about 2 fingers widths in. And as you go down, that should line up with the center of your thigh and down to the center of your foot, okay? Long story short, it's about a foot's width apart. Now, if you are a little bit larger, okay, whether you're taller or a little bit wider, you may need a little bit wider stance. So I don't want you to get caught up in technicalities. I just don't want you here, okay? So bring it in just a little bit. Once you've done that for yourself, let's take a look at the legs. And I have a left leg, because this is my problem leg. I've had some injuries on it. This arch wants to collapse in quite a bit. My ankle wants to collapse in. Now, if you have collapsed arches or high arches, if you have knee pain, a lot of times those are leg rotation issues. It's not actually an issue in that area. So we want to try to adjust that. Keeping your feet anchored down into the floor, that means the inner and outer edge of the ball of the foot and the inner and the outer edge of the heel of the foot is going to stay anchored. I'm going to grab my thighs, and I want to create an external rotation with the thigh bone, with the thigh itself. And what you should notice is all of a sudden, the booty squeezes without you having to clench, okay? So as I rotate my thighs out, my glute muscles kick in. It's a great thing. We're going to get to that in a second. But if you look at your feet, what I don't want you to do is rock to the outer edges of the feet. So when you stay plugged into your foot and you rotate, I really have to push on the inside edge on that left foot when I rotate so I don't lean into the outer edge of the foot. Now I'm utilizing a totally different combination of muscles in my feet and in my legs. I can feel this left leg already working a lot harder than my right leg. That's a good thing. We have to be careful because we'll categorize new sensations as wrong or bad. And what's comfortable or normal, meaning how we've always moved about our day, as the safe things, the right things. So you need to look with your eyes and see, in fact, that as you rotate, I'm pressing down through the inner edge of my foot, behind the big toe, inside of the heel, as I rotate out so I don't lean. This is really creating a lot of work for my left leg. I have to work on that, okay? That leg, some areas are super short, other areas are overstretched, and everything I've been doing since the beginning of my existence has probably been accommodating to that. Now, as I work my way up, it's not that the kneecap should be pointing forward. Your kneecap's a floating bone. It's not like your elbow or your shoulder, okay? So the kneecap's a bad directional. What we want is the slits, the vertical slits, the pits behind the knees to be pointing straight back. If you've ever seen a 16-year-old girl with shorts on, and I'm not trying to judge 16-year-old girls, I was once one, but they tend to press their knees back and hyperextend and then rotate in. It's kind of like a booty out position. Now, I'm not saying every girl does this, but you may be able to visualize that. What we want to do is turn the pits of the knees to point back, keeping our feet plugged, and all of a sudden, my glute muscles kick in. Why is that important? Because your glutes are the shell for the lower back. And when your glutes are just kind of hanging around back there, they're not really helping you. And up to this point, you may have been having people tell you, do booty exercises, squeeze your glutes, clench your glutes. But what our body is capable of doing is automatically engaging. And so when I put my body where it belongs, it should automatically kick in. I'm pretty certain if you've ever had children or ever watched a young child learn to crawl or walk, nobody was saying, now contract and squeeze your glutes. Contract and squeeze your abs. No, because their body is smart. Your body is smart. We're just putting it back where it belongs. So as you rotate, I'm seeing my arches come back to life, okay? And if you have really high arches, you may have to actually push down more through that inner edge of the foot, behind the big toe, the inner heel, as you rotate. So it's a balancing act. As you work your way up your body, we're looking at our pelvis now. I've had 4 kids, and so what happens a lot is we end up still walking around like we're pregnant when we're no longer pregnant. If you've had a dramatic weight loss, I see this a lot in people that have had a lot of weight loss. The pelvis hangs forward because the front of the body is heavy, and then we're still walking around in this really extreme lordosis. Not only is this not utilizing the abdominal muscles, okay, but our glute muscles are behind us. What good is the shelf for the lower back when it's behind us? But more importantly, our pelvic floor is now also tipped behind us. It's like building a house and putting the foundation in the neighbor's yard and then building the house on your property and wondering why the house is falling apart. So your feet are your foundation, your pelvic floor is your foundation. If you want to learn more about the feet and about the pelvic floor and the core, check the comments and check the description of this video for links to other videos that will go into that in more detail. All right, so I'm in pelvic neutral. That means pubis bone, hip bones are parallel with the wall you're facing. This has nothing to do with the padding around your body. We all have these bony structures, okay? I want you to understand that this is not about how much that we have around it. It's really about keeping neutral. So as you do that and you work your way up, now you're going to pay attention to your rib cage. Okay, so your rib cage, when we think about bringing our shoulders down and back, what happens most of the time is people tip the rib cage forward. So it's actually, you're not bringing your shoulders down at all. You're just tipping the front of your body like tipping a bowl with water. When we do this, we now no longer engage the abdominal muscles, and we're doing this like pinching, jamming action in our upper back, which isn't helping us in any regards as well. So we're gonna fix that. So against the wall, I want you to use one or both hands. I'm gonna actually put one hand on each side of my rib cage. It's kind of like butterfly wings. And take a nice deep breath in. And as you exhale, guide your rib cage down and forward. You might need to take a couple of breaths, and we're trying to bring those front ribs down and forward. Now, once I do that, I notice that I actually lean away from the wall. So this is, if I bring my ribs down and forward, this is actually my upper body posture. You can see my shoulders are rounded forward. You can see my head is slightly forward. This is what I call true kyphosis. This is your true upper body posture. And for a lot of us, we manipulate that and we hide that by pulling our shoulders down and back and splaying our rib cage up. Now it appears like I am standing upright, but in fact, I have only tipped my rib cage to make this optical illusion, which is not helping you. And now you have shoulder pain and neck pain and jaw pain. Now you have this weird pain inside your shoulder blade, all because you've just tried to kind of hide your posture versus fix your posture. Okay, so from there, with that rib cage dropped down, now if you've had children, if you've had a rapid weight loss, the ribs open, okay? The ribs are meant to open, especially for women. They open up because you have this growing life inside of you. And then afterwards, we're not taught how to engage the pelvis to bring it back to center, bring the rib cage back and down. Now we have this splayed, kind of memorized upper body. So we need to train our upper body, train these muscles to bring the rib cage back down. So this might be something you have to practice, okay? So as you bring the ribs down, now my core is engaged. Yay, now my abdominal muscles are engaged. I'm gonna bring, okay, your arms up in front and plug the shoulders back. So I'm pushing my arm bones back into the wall without splaying the ribs. So this might be a challenge in itself because your body wants to do what it's always done. Once you do that, you're going to make a fist, pretend that you're holding a pipe, you are the strongest person on the planet, and break the pipe by turning your forearms and palms and elbows up and feeling your shoulder blades drop down and back without pushing the ribs out. So my core is actually engaged right now. We'll call it like an idle. It's not the strongest engagement, but it's definitely contracting. Same thing with my feet, same thing with my glutes. Now bend the elbows to 90 degrees and press the arms out to a cactus position towards the wall without pushing the ribs forward. So here's the challenge. I'm going to press my arms against the wall at shoulder height without pushing the ribs out. So no longer am I going to create that optical illusion that I have an upright posture. You may be here with the arms. You may be here with the arms. You may be here with the arms. Try to press the arms back as evenly as you can. You could even have someone gently press the arms back just for a stretch. And then finally, chin is level with the floor, slide the head back. I really notice that my head probably hangs more forward of my shoulders than it should during the day, because that really, I feel my upper back muscles kicking in. So can I stand like this for a minute? Can I stand like this for 5 minutes? Can I practice this once a day and really work my posture open? So now let's add a little arm activity, a little upper back work as we work against the wall. So inhale here, press back, even if you're not touching. Exhale, bring the arms forward, try to touch your elbows and palms together. It's okay if you're here. Inhale, press open and against the wall as much as you can. Exhale, bring it closed. Keep the elbows at shoulder height. Inhale, open. Breathe wide into your ribs. Exhale, bring it forward and close. We're not trying to hunch and round. I'm moving my arm in my shoulder socket. Exhale, close. Inhale, open. And exhale, close. 4 more. Nice and slow, it's not a race. Press each time, challenge a little bit more, 2 more. And last one, I can really notice my left shoulder has to work a little bit harder. Okay, so now we're against the wall. Now we're gonna make snow angels. Keep the ribs down. As you fatigue, it's like, oh, I just wanna push my ribs forward and push my booty out, but I don't want you to do that. Keeping your arms pressing back. Inhale, slide the arms out to T without pulling your shoulder blades off the wall. And then slide it back up to cactus. Back of the neck is long. Inhale, slide it out. Exhale, slide it back up. So the whole time, I'm trying to keep my shoulders, my arms, the back of my neck, my feet plugged in, like my body is turned on, it's active. Inhale, slide open. Exhale, slide it back up. Inhale, slide open. I can feel all the muscles in my upper back and my neck all engaging because they're overstretched, they're weak. Too much computer time. Too much drive time. 2 more. Keep the front ribs down. You have to think about it. It's not just the arm action. It's everything else the body is doing. And then staying against the wall. Last one here. Keep the ribs down. I know your shoulders are probably screaming at you. Inhale, slide up. as far as you can keep the arms against the wall. The second you pull off, it's too far. And then bring it back down shoulder height. Inhale, slide up. I can go about here, and then my shoulders want to pull off. And exhale down. So I have no doubt you can straighten your arms. But it's at what point do I have to manipulate the body to get my arms straight, okay? I want you to just keep pushing the envelope a little bit more each time. I don't care if it's 2 inches you're lifting. My left arm, I really have to think about it. And then bring it back down. Push back, even if you're just here. Core is engaged, feet are plugged in. Rescan your body. Inhale, lift. Exhale, down. Keep it pressing back. So it's not just about coming up, it's keeping the ribs down. It's keeping the arms pressing against the wall. It's keeping those shoulder blades down, or at least from kind of arcing off the wall. 4 more. So inhale. You've come this far. 3, 2, last one, give it all you've got. Really press back, stand nice and tall, keep your arms against the wall, and bring it back down. Roll the shoulders. What if you were to do that once a day? What if you were to do that a few times a week? We can go from that forward head, slumped shoulders, rounded upper back, and we can start to reverse some of those postural issues. Remember, it's taking you how many years to get where you are? Give yourself some grace as you work with these movements and work against the wall to help restore your posture. Think about where your head is during the day. Think about where your shoulders are during the day. Think about where your feet are during the day, and all of these things add up over time. Make sure you check out our website, hopezvara.com and mothertruckeryoga.com, and check out more about what we're doing to help you feel better wherever you are. Bye!